This is the SpeakerHub co-working session that we do every day from noon until 1 p.m. By the looks of my calendar, people ain't taking a day off because I still got like 8 meetings after this meeting. So, but it's good to see you all. This is where we answer questions about your speaking career, how we can get you on more stages, help you to sell more product, things of that sort. And yeah, so are there any questions? Allure, good to see you. Arain, Denise, always good to see you. Janessa, any questions before I kind of talk about a little bit of what I want to cover today? Um, nope.
Hey,
Perfect.
I don't know. This isn't a question.
Okay.
Maybe
Question,
is it
comment, whatever.
is it possible to, you know how I love it that y'all like on the episodes that it has in the title now by and it has the podcast host name. Can you just put that? Can that be done on all of them? Because there are some podcasts that it doesn't say the host name inside of it. So I'm just trying to see if that can be done in all.
Well, I mean, if they didn't give us a name, we don't have it.
Sometimes it's in there. I just can't. It's just like you got to find it. So I don't know if that's
Yeah, I mean, in the data that we have,
uh
we aggregate the data. So basically, what we do, we aggregate a lot of the data. So if the host doesn't put it in the titles and things of that sort, what we're trying to do is to standardize where the data appears, right?
right.
So sometimes they'll put the podcast name, they'll put their company name as the host, and then in the
Got it.
details it'll say AJ Vassar is the host of such and such. But in
Got
reality, they put Vassar Media in the host name spot. So, I mean, we would have to go and listen to 3.5 million podcasts to fix that. And
it.
AJ, it ain't that important to us.
Get it. Get it.
We just not gonna go do that.
Get
But
it.
no, but people put different things in different places. So we just try to play along with what they've already set up. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But we want to make it as easy as possible for you guys. But you know, um, but no, that's a good question. We just don't have a solution for it, right?
Okay.
Um, so we have a new feature that's coming out on Wednesday that I'm pretty excited about called Workspaces. And Workspaces is going to allow for, let's say AJ wanted to pitch some clients, but they don't have, he can't create a branding kit for each one. Workspaces will allow you to create multiple personalities for yourself. So I could be Ron, the founder, Ron, the travel guy, Ron, the former financial advisor. And I can have a workspace for each personality, a branding kit for each personality without having to keep logging in and logging out under different email addresses. So, because of where we're going with the agency side of things with SpeakerHub and PitchDB and PR pitches, we've built out this workspace thing that we think will take us to the next level. Because what ends up happening is that a lot of speakers, they start off wanting to be a speaker themselves, and then they realize, you know what, I'm better off amplifying other people's voices. I'm better off being an agent. I'm better off representing other folks, getting them booked on stages. So this will allow those folks um, to use the software to book not only themselves with different personalities, but they'll be able to pitch for their clients if they want to pitch for other clients and start an agency. Um, in the past, PitchDB had speaking gigs and everything, and we took the speaking gigs out when we bought SpeakerHub so that we could turn PitchDB into um, a podcast agency software. So you'll see a lot of those new developments over the next few months. A lot of cool things. A new mailbox. The mailbox is being fully redesigned. That should be live on Wednesday also to simplify how we're doing the mailbox right now and to add a lot of the features that you all have asked us for. But any questions? Good to see you, B. Jensen. Good to see you, Jadika. Um, Good to see you, Jasmine. Any questions or wins, comments, concerns, anything before I get into my stuff? Go ahead, Jasmine.
Oh no, I was just saying hello.
Jadika, what's up? Good to see you.
Let me see. What's up? What's up? Oh, I did my first virtual workshop for a group last week, and that was a starting point in terms of getting back into the speaking circuit. So I was real happy and excited about that. So that's a big win. Moving in like all this week, I'm really kind of fine tuning and catching up on all of the podcast interviews and moving more into a little more into the associations and it's dipping my feet in that part of the water. So that's basically like I'm still following my click send and all of that and doing that, and I've got it customized in a workable system for me to work at so that I can catch up with everybody else and start having somebody do it for me. But that's where I'm at.
No, that's cool. That's a big deal. All right.
Yes, so I just wanted to share a win I had last week. One of the podcasts I pitched, and it was interesting. Her first response to me was like, "How'd you find me?" So I'm like, "Oh, I use this software." Blah blah blah. So anyway, she had me come on Friday, and they use Riverside. So this is my first time on that platform, and for anyone who may get booked on a podcast that uses Riverside, you may want to download the actual application to your computer first, because on the web version you can't do like a virtual background and stuff like that. But so I've learned that, so wanted to share that tip with everyone. And after the podcast, you will, once the podcast closes out, it automatically creates clips for you that you can share in social media. So that was pretty cool. So I wanted to share those tidbits with everyone.
Yeah, Riverside is high tech. I mean, it's one of the best video platforms. I mean, the video quality is amazing. One of the things that I always suggest, and I know that this may be a reach for some people, but it's part of that investing in yourself type of thing. And I can, AJ can tell you, I've tried every webcam on earth, like, like every single one. I've tried them all, and there are a couple of them that I recommend. One is called the Brio 4K webcam, and it's through Logitech. But there are only two 4K webcams on the market that give you like high quality video, and Brio is one of them. Um, and then the other one is the one that I'm currently using, which is called the Insta 360.
Oh, I didn't know you could use that as a webcam. I know people use it to go do,
Well, Insta 360 has about 5 different types of cameras.
Oh, okay.
So they have this InstaLink and InstaLink 2C. The InstaLink 2C, that one doesn't move. It just stays on your wherever you put it. And then you all notice how sometimes when I move, my camera be moving all around and following me around the room. That's because it has this motion detector thing on it. And I can make it where if I move this way, look, mind no hands, it just moves on its own, and it tracks you up, down, no matter where you go, it's going to keep you in
Oh,
the center.
you fancy, Ron. You fancy.
Right? But let me tell you why this is super duper important. Because when you're trying to get your own video, right, and you want to have your own clips of what you're doing, the better camera quality you have without having to set up a whole DSLR and all of that, the better off you are. Now, let me tell you the other thing. Because it's a 4K camera, it can get closer on your head for your backgrounds and all of that stuff. So it can make you, it just turns everything up. I'm talking about, like, I don't know if you all hear, I'll spotlight myself. And Zoom doesn't even go 1080p. Like Zoom does not even, let me see if I can make myself a spotlight here to demonstrate this.
I think you are already.
Yeah, not on everybody's though, right? So you can see the bumps on my forehead, right? Like, but what this thing does, the amount of quality, if I can get it to do it, right? Like, I mean, it could zoom all the way in and have you pretty freaking clear and in focus like no other cameras that are out there, right? And I use the hand because it has hair and wrinkles, and you're like, whoa, those wrinkles are clear. And this is with zoom. On Riverside, it is unfreaking believable, the camera quality. And it's only $200, right? Where the Brio used to cost like $400 years ago. Now it's only $200, but you're getting a 4K quality, high, super duper high fidelity video. So when you put it on anything, whether it's Loom or YouTube, you're gonna get 4K quality video into your systems. And one of the things I love is going on somebody else's stuff and having my stuff look better than the host. Right?
Any
Because
microphone recommendations? Why, since you're talking about cameras?
yeah, there's a couple of microphones I would recommend. And it really, Jamar may be better at this. I saw Jamar came in. Jamar is really good with audio stuff. But
Yeah,
here, let me.
I would say the go-to microphone of you would see of 90% of the podcasts is the Shure SMB7.
Yeah.
And that little one is a kind of like a smaller version. It's a little bit more lightweight, more plastic. The Shure SMB7 has literally been around since like the 1950s or 60s. So that's kind of like a little bit slightly cheaper version of the Shure SMB7, the MV7. It's not bad, but it doesn't have the same, I would say, what I would call like the breadth and depth of the vocal capacity.
So
So
here's the reason why, and 100%. So when you look at the Breakfast Club or
mhm,
anything like that, you're going to see this mic. The problem is that it's an XLR mic, and most people
yes,
can't plug this into their computer directly. The MV7 allows you
is.
to plug it. It's USB, so it allows you to plug it directly into your computer. See, it's a USB mic.
Okay.
Where
And
the other one
XLR
is,
with XLR outputs. But Ron, the one thing I will say though, just from a long-term investment standpoint, this one, while it's easier to set up, using the mic that's a little bit more difficult to set up once you have it, because it also needs a cloud lifter, right? Which is another $100. You can find the cloud lifter as well as those microphones on Facebook Marketplace all the time, where people are selling them for less than this mic. They're selling them for about $250 in the retail in the secondary market. The reason why, though, I would say it's a better investment. I just narrated my audiobook with the other microphone. It is superior in quality. So if you're ever going to do anything from a voiceover standpoint, you've already got a professional level quality microphone. So that's a good step up, but spending a little bit more and having a little bit more of that technical understanding, which honestly, one YouTube video is all you need to figure out what it takes, gives you a higher quality that can then be spread across other verticals.
yeah, no, I think that's a great recommendation. Here's what I want to do. I want to give you, so we've covered the high end, like that's like the Rolls Royce, the Rolls Royce of mics, right? I don't know who that is. Somebody's fighting in the background over there. All right, yeah. So that's like the Rolls Royce version. Then I'm going to show you kind of a middle of the line type of thing that you can get, which is like the Rode Podcaster.
I actually have
Right.
I have two of those.
So they have this Rode one,
Yep.
which they have this is a good one that a lot of people use. You see it, and it's they got an SLR, XLR, and USB. So that's about $100, right? And then the other one is what I would call the Audio Technica. One second, if I can type it in here. Shoot, I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, the Audio Technica one looks really good too. It's got kind of like that shotgun style, a little bit longer neck.
Right. So there's different ones. This is the one, a lot of singers use these, right? That's like a standard singing mic. But this is the one that you see right here in front of me. This is the one I use, the AT2020. You can see it has 14,000 reviews, so it's pretty popular. But there's a whole range, guys. So you got the low entry level, which you can get for $49. I know a lot of people who record with this one, this 2100. There's the middle of the range, Audio Technica, and then the Rode Pod mic, and then there's the kind of higher range, Shure MV7 SMB7. Pick where you fit, right? If you have the economics to afford the higher one and the technical skill, get it. You can hear the bass and the warmth in in Jamar's microphone, even when he's talking now, right?
Well, right now I'm using I'm on the road. I'm just using my Apple
Gotcha.
headphones.
Go back and listen to the Pro Speaker Summit with Jamar, and you'll hear the difference in my mic and his mic on there because he's in the studio at the time, and you can hear the depth in his voice. Great choices, guys. So that's on the microphone side. So that you can invest in making yourself look good, but also making yourself sound good. And let me make sure I'm using the right ones, right? And just get a pop filter, either a foam one or a metal one, so that you don't sound like you're beatboxing. Or if you got a lisp, it doesn't crack every time you say a S word. But yeah, that's a great way to start, just to step up the technical game, because you're going to be in this for life, right? So yesterday I sent out a video talking about the farmer, the chicken, and the pig. And, the basic story is a farmer goes out and he's talking to his farm animals. And he's like, man, today we're going to have bacon and eggs, right? And the chicken is super duper excited. She's like, "Ooh, we having bacon and eggs. I'm gonna give him the best eggs he's ever had in his life. This is gonna be great." And the pig is kind of down. He's kind of like, really? And the chicken gets upset. He's like, "Piggy, why ain't you excited? We get to give bacon and eggs today. Like, I'm super duper excited. We've been waiting on this moment." And the pig looks at the chicken and he says, "Well, for you to give your eggs is just a contribution. But for me to provide them with bacon, it's a total commitment," right? And a lot of us got into being speakers because we just wanted to contribute to a program, or someone asked us, "Hey, can you share your perspective, or can you tell this story about this, or can you do this?" And then we end up making this lifelong commitment to helping people and telling our stories and speaking from the stage. And with that commitment, we can start making those investments, since we, like Jamar said, we are going to be in it for the long run anyway, right? And I think that that's one of the biggest differences between success and failure in life. It's how much time do you give yourself before you measure whether you've won or not. Let me say it again, because I think people miss that. How much time do you give yourself when you're measuring whether you won or not? Some people are measuring after a week. Well, I tried this for a week, it didn't work. Some people are doing it for a month. I tried it for a month and it's not working. I'm not becoming the speaker I want to become. Some people have been at it for 10 years, right? Some people are saying, I don't care where I was last year, I'm making progress and I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life anyway. So I'm going to put the things in place for me to be doing this for the rest of my life. So I wanted, Jamar and I were in a previous conversation. Jamar is another lifetime member of ours. He was in our first batch back in July. And we had a technical issue we had to solve for him. But while he was on the call, he mentioned that he found a grant program for people who create courses or do online learning. And it's a significant amount. If you're an author or you're a course creator, he knows a company that is giving away thousands of dollars worth of services in order to help further you promoting your thing. So I wanted him to talk about that for about 10 minutes, because I'm sure someone on this call, let me kind of tee him up a bit. Jamar is a stand-up comedian who has successfully lived in both worlds of taking his stand-up from the stand-up comedy club and putting on his own comedy shows, but also turning that into a great hosting career for conferences. Where everybody else is going to try to be the keynote, he's made a huge career out of just being the host of the conference, being the MC, right? So he has a lot of experience, a lot of time on stage, and I just, I respect what he's done, but I want him to share what he's found with this grant program, because I think it could be pretty helpful to anybody who's on here.
Excellent. Thank you for the setup, Ron. So I've got about 10 minutes or so before I've got to head down to the shuttle to catch a flight that was delayed by a couple of hours. So it's incredible how sometimes just random circumstances create opportunities for you to connect with folks. And Ron, I appreciate you helping me with that technical issue that we were actually able to solve, and hopefully we'll get an even better resolution in a couple of days. By show of hands, how many of you have digital education? By show of hands, how many of you have digital education? Okay. How many of you are authors? How many of you are authors? Okay. How many of you have an audiobook of your book completed? Not yet? Okay. Definitely something to consider. Now, of course, there's a number of ways that you can distribute your content. You can, get your book on audible.com. You can host it yourself and sell it directly to customers with a website, Squarespace. But at the end of the day, you want your content to live in an ecosystem where it has the ability to attract new people to it without you doing anything. Now, a prime example of that for me is about 4 years ago. When I was still working on my book, which is called Super Connecting, available now. I was asked to create a mini course, like a masterclass. So I have a 54-minute masterclass that lives on LinkedIn Learning, which is a platform that was purchased, formerly lynda.com. How many of you ever heard of lynda.com? lynda.com. I was a user of that platform a decade ago when I was just working on some hobby music, learning some music production with Logic. But they had everything from video, editing courses, you name it. If it was something with online, building websites, lynda.com was a place to go. Well, in 2015, they were purchased for $1.6 billion to Microsoft, which is LinkedIn, right? And so when years came and the opportunity for me came to put a course on LinkedIn Learning, my history with lynda.com, which became LinkedIn Learning, I was like, wow, this is a huge opportunity. But what it did was it made me pay attention a little bit more to the digital education and what we now call the creator economy, right? So, I filmed this course. They paid me to go to Santa Barbara to their studio. It took about 6 hours. And then they did all the editing and they edited down to a 54-minute masterclass. Now, in the last 4 years, that masterclass has trained 34,000 people. And in fact, every single day, I get an email or a review of the course because in real time, people are watching the course. Like right now, as I'm speaking here, I'm also speaking someplace else digitally and educating people. So opportunities have been created. In fact, I just got a message from a CEO of a company who went through my course, and then I sent him a voice note back asking him, "Hey, what were your biggest takeaways? What were your biggest action items?" And tell me. And he wrote this long message back, and then he said, "Oh, by the way, you mentioned you had a book. How can I go purchase that?" So it just creates these opportunities when you've got digital education, not only generating reoccurring revenue, because every single month I get reoccurring revenue from that course that lives on LinkedIn, tapping into their network. So it came to my attention. A brand had reached out to me maybe 6-7 months ago on Instagram, asking me if I had, music or content or something that I could leverage their platform. And they had a grant involved in that. And so I learned more about the grant. It's not an easy walk in the park to get, I'll be honest with you, because it comes down to, do you already have an audience that you can monetize with a product, right? That product could be an audiobook, it could be a PDF of a book, it could be a course, it could be a song, it could be a podcast. Like You don't have to put your podcast out in the world for free. If it has significant value, you could charge for it $1, $5 a month, subscription fee. There's so many different ways to monetize in the creator economy. And so when I was talking with Ron, I was like, hey, who do you know that's a speaker that creates courses, that has audiobooks, that has courses? And I would love to connect with you to talk about how to not only get that grant, but how to grow your audience. Because at the end of the day, and this is why SpeakerHub is so powerful, is we have a database of contacts that we can then reach out to. The money is in your list. The money is in how many connections do you have that actually know about you, like you, and trust you enough to follow along your journey, to learn from you so that they can enhance what they're doing for their life. Because at the end of the day, people care about their own objectives. So how does what you do help somebody else get what they don't have yet in their life? And so if that sounds like you, now for me, I'm committed to what I call the creator economy. Don't get me wrong, I love speaking live. I'm in Atlanta now. I came for a one-night event and now I got to fly back to Austin. It wears on you. I fly 3 to 4 times a month. It's not easy. So I also want to create the ability to generate revenue with my own likeness online so that I'm making money while I'm sleeping. In fact, I'm in talks with an AI company. They want to use, they're talking to a bunch of other people, but they want to use like my likeness as one of their AI avatars in their business model. And they're offering me cash or equity in their company. And the equity could be substantial, but if depending on how much cash they're going to give me, I might just take the cash up front because then I can use that to build what I'm building. But those opportunities come when you create content online. So if you're interested in that, Ron, is there a way I guess I could put my email in the chat
put it in
here?
the chat and then, or send it to Ange. Ange will distribute it to everybody.
Okay.
But you can put it in the chat first and then Ange
Yeah.
will tell them how to follow up with you. Guys, I think that that's important because a lot of things we miss out on just because we don't know, right? And when you learn about something, you're not obligated to do it, right? It's just making you aware so that you can go and make an educated decision on your own. When Jamar was telling me about it, and he mentioned it to me before, I knew about his LinkedIn course and how well he's doing with that. We just happened to, it came back up, and I'm like, dude, we got a meeting in 3 minutes. Hop on this call in 3 minutes and just tell folks about it. And it'll be on YouTube and everybody can watch and learn more about this because we're moving into, in April, as I mentioned, the Pro Speaker Summit is coming up in April, where the focus is product. And everybody is talking about getting paid to speak. That's all we hear. Get paid to speak. Get paid to speak, right? Over at SpeakerHub, we're going to push really hard for you all to speak to get paid. There's a significant difference. Same words, but a different order.
Yeah.
Getting paid to speak limits you because now you set the price before you showed up. Speaking to get paid is unlimited because you determine how much you can pull out of that audience when you show up. If an event planner has a choice between hiring someone for free or paying someone $10,000 for the same type of speech, they're just like us. We're going to get that same quality speech for free if we can, if in exchange we allow them to present their products and services. I was at NSA last August. 50% of their stages were sponsored. NSA is the number one group in the country, and half of their stages were sponsored speeches. So if they're doing it, everybody else is doing it also.
And
right,
Ron, and let me add something to that real quick before I get out of here. First of all, is it Nadika? Najadika. Oh, I love that. That's a little tongue
Jadika.
twister. Jadika.
Did I say it right? Is that even right, Jadika? Okay.
Jadika. That is probably what Ron just mentioned, the whole sponsor stages thing is probably one of the secret cheat codes to success as a speaker. Because when you have the ability, when you have products, services, and things to sell besides just your story, you unlock so many more opportunities because you can go places where other people, like a lot of people will say no to opportunities and miss out on meeting 400 new people that some of those people have budgets to pay you to speak. So sometimes, like case in point, this was a local speaking engagement that I had about 3 months ago. It was in October at the Austin Public Library, a space that I've done charity events before. So it's a huge space. So they were like, hey, we've got 400 people. We're a small association, local association for librarians. We don't have a huge budget. Their budget was $500. But for me, it was a 30-minute car ride. So I was like, you know what? I'm available. I'll do it. I asked them, hey, do I have the ability to sell my books at the end? They said, sure. So I spoke, I sold a few books, but I made a bunch of connections. And one of those connections booked me 2 months later to come be the keynote speaker of their entire area of librarians. So I got to speak in front of like 2,000 people from that connection. So when you speak and you believe in your message, you have the ability to what I call band fam. You book a meeting from a meeting. If you're speaking, you're laying it all out there, you're not gatekeeping, you're not holding anything back, you're going to impact a few more lives than anticipated. And those people will then book you. I developed coaching clients from those engagements. I've sold dozens of books. And the woman who ended up booking me, she was the kind of like the vice executive director of the Austin Public Library. She says, hey, we've already got a speaker for our national convention, but I'm going to talk to them to see if I can get you to be in the alternates. Because sometimes things happen, speakers drop out. Being an alternate is probably a guarantee that in 2026, I'll be one of the main speakers, because you're just building relationships. And that's what's super connecting, the concept that I just coined a phrase, but everyone does it. It's just networking and really being steadfast on your follow-up. Because that was the one thing that the CEO who emailed me says, hey, I do a lot of networking, but I'm really bad at the follow-up. And Ron knows this because he's a data-driven guy. But most of the success in sales, and if you're a speaker, you are in sales, you're trying to close a deal, happens after the 7th or 8th touch. So sending an email, that's not a touch unless they actually wrote you back. If they didn't write you back, then did they even get it? People's inboxes are inflated. I say email is king, but email is like a overweight diabetic king with gout, right? He's eating well and he doesn't have time to look at everything that comes his way because he's so abundantly with opportunities. So you got to think about, how can I get the king's attention? You've got to be willing to go the extra mile. You got to be willing to do a little bit more research, pick up the phone, call. And me, what I try to do is, because I do travel a fair amount, is if I'm in a city, if I know I'm going to a city, I start scouting out what are 3 to 4 opportunities where I can just pop out and show them. You know what I mean? Already suited and booted for an event. Like, hey, just want to stop by. I had a couple minutes. You know what I mean? And for those of you who know, you know what I was referencing, right? Sometimes you got to pop out and show them on that Super Bowl, right? Sometimes you got to pop out and show them that you're here, because that is going to be more impactful than the other 400 emails who are just like, hey, you got something? Hey, you got something? You just say, hey, I just want to take some time out of my existence to connect with you, human to human, and see if there's opportunity for us to build and connect over time. Not like, hey, you got something next week, you got something next month, you got something next quarter. I'm here to build a relationship for the long term because I'm going to be around for a while. And if you get me now, it's going to be a lot more affordable for you than if you get me later, because today's prices are not tomorrow's prices, not yesterday's prices. And with that, that's all I got, Ron.
Jamar, I'm always grateful and thankful for you to come in. I mean, again, we want to bring folks on to have experience, right? And I want people to have experience that some of us don't have, right? So you know how much courage, it's hard to be a speaker. You know how hard it is to get up there and try to make people laugh? Like, I've never seen a public speaker get heckled. I've seen comedians get heckled. So the amount of stage presence and courage that it takes to be a stand-up comedian, I've always respected that. And I know Jamar has not only put on the work on stage, but he's produced shows where he's, put on his own events. So I wanted him to come and share this because I know that 35,000 people watching something of yours isn't by mistake, especially on an obscure platform like LinkedIn. This isn't YouTube. This is like, they got to intentionally go register, sign up. If 35,000 people found you on LinkedIn's Linda platform, you're doing a pretty good job. So thanks again, Jamar.
Thank you.
I know you got
Thank you so
a
much. Yeah,
flight to
thanks so much
catch.
for having me.
And
Good to see
yeah,
all your
thanks.
faces. Angela, thank you so much for your
Jamar, great.
connections.
We had a great chat the other day.
Yes, we
Jamar.
did. Yes, last month actually. Last month I was
Yeah.
going hard in the paint. But we'll connect. We'll connect again soon. I have a Canada Connect for you who books speakers for virtual talks only in the health and wellness space. So send me an email, Jasmine, and we'll talk.
Absolutely, I will. Thank you
Okay.
again.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
See you later,
See ya.
Jamar.
Peace.
So Jamar said a lot regarding product, and the winners will win, right? We got to shift who pays us in a lot of ways away from relying on the event planner to pay us. Now, I'm not saying y'all shouldn't get paid up front, but here's what I've learned. A lot of the people who brag about how much they get paid up front is because they don't have product on the backside. So we kind of lean towards our weaknesses, right? Now, I lean towards getting paid on the backside because don't nobody pay me to show up. Right. So I'm leaning towards my weakness, which is, hey, I know where my strength is. It's me selling from the stage. And I've made annual incomes in one gig from selling from the stage just on my own. So I go towards that way because I know it removes that first barrier of saying, I can't afford to have Ron. Right. So one of the cool things, there's a guy named Sean Fair that we show all the time. And someone had introduced me to Sean, and this was last March. And he says, man, I got an event coming up this weekend, man. I wish I'd have met you before now because I'd have had you come up there and speak. I said, what day is it? He said, it's Thursday. Now, this is on a Friday, the previous week. I said, okay, I'll see you Wednesday. He was like, wait, Don, man, we're not buying you no ticket to come up here. I said, no, I got it. It's cool. I flew by behind, ill-advised, from Medellin in 80-degree weather up to Detroit, Michigan in March, and it was snowing. I didn't even have a coat, right? Because I don't have a coat down here. I'm up there. They like, man, where your coat at? I'm like, bro, I came from 85 degrees. I ain't wearing no coat. I don't even own a coat. They don't even sell snow coats in Medellin. But I went there and ended up speaking in front of maybe 300 people at Sean's event. And I've done probably 8 virtual events with Sean since then. But if I didn't make the investment to go on my own dime, I don't know how many customers we have in PitchDB and SpeakerHub from Sean just by me making, because I knew I could make the money back, right? That's the difference. So I want us to, in SpeakerHub, we're going to push more speak to sell, right? Speak to get paid more than getting paid to speak. Because I think if you can master the second one, the first one becomes easier, right? Because your confidence goes through the roof. If I know I can go to the stage and literally pickpocket people without literally not saying that, but I can pickpocket my way off the stage. Imagine if they paid me up front and I could do both. Do you see what I mean? Because I don't have to be pitching to be pitching. I can just tell you what I do, and you like, yo, I want to do what he doing. What he explained, he ain't tell me the name of the product, but I can Google him. That's where that inbound comes in. When they look up Ron's story, they're gonna see SpeakerHub, this or that. So I want you all to be able to do that. I want you to truly understand that there's more money to be made in the product, right, than what's to be made in the pros. And the pros is your talking and all of that stuff, right? So we got to get the product, man. We got to get the product on stage. We got to get y'all selling. That's my main goal for 2025. Jasmine, what's your comment, question?
Jamar before I left, but a couple got about whatever. But in I wanted to ask Jamar, and you would probably know, are most of his books ebooks and audible books, his products?
So a lot of speakers do what Lethea talked about, where they will go ahead and they will get a box of books printed up on their own from Lulu or another company like that, so that you'll have maybe 300 to 400 books in your house all the time.
Okay.
And you usually can get a paperback done for about $3 to $4 a copy, depending on how
Mhm.
many pages your book is. Let me bring it up here. All right, can you see my screen here?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go over to Lulu, Lulu will opt me out. I don't even know what they're talking about. Right. So Lulu will allow you to print your own books. And you can come in and we'll just pick um, a regular book. They got all different types and different. So I'm gonna put a design, I'm gonna do a standard 8.5 by 5 book, or 8.5 by 5.5, right? And then I want to go to the pricing calculator so you can kind of see what it looks like. So 8.5 by 5.5, and I want 150 pages, perfect bound, because I don't want any of this other crap. And we're not gonna go hardcover because I ain't got that much money. And it's gonna be standard black and white on basic cream color pages, and I want mine to be matte. So I can do that for $5 a book.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. But if I have less, if I order more, I usually get a discount. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and then they always say, well, what if you sold them and all this stuff, right? Lulu Direct, which is where you put your price and they just mail them as people order them from the site, they mail them directly to them,
Mm.
right? So basically, all they say is, hey, you charging $15. When someone orders it from your site, we're gonna print it for $5.26 and we're gonna mail it to them for $1.75. So it's gonna cost $8. But you're not stuck ordering a bunch of books. This is on demand.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So they
Right.
have a distribution center as well.
Yep. And then here's the quantity discounts, right? So that $5 book can get down to $4.75, whatever. So let's say I wanted 600 of my books. That's not 600, right? So I know for 600 books, it's going to cost me $3,000, which is a little bit over $5 a book, but I'm okay with that, right? So there it is. It's gonna be like about $3,000. But now I got my 600 books. But how much you gonna sell them books for, Jasmine? $15?
Yeah.
Okay, so you made $9,000 on your $3,000 investment. You see that? 15 times 6 is 90, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you end up making $9,000 in your $3,000 book investment,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's what, a lot of times the speakers are taking physical copies with them.
You and they take them with you. It's good to, because I'm doing a trade show next month.
Mhm.
And, I'm going to get a couple of my books for that trade show as well. The books are already written. And you and I are meeting tomorrow. All things book. And so that's kind of nice to know. So Jamar would sell his book anywhere he can.
Yep, people take them all the time.
Take them on.
You know?
Okay.
So,
Another
but
thing
again,
was
you don't have to print that many. Like you don't have to go print 1,000 or 5,000.
no.
But you can print enough so that you can go in and be impactful. So even if you only said, "Hey, I just want to print 100 this time," so let me kind of give you what I call this the waterfall method of marketing,
Okay.
right? So basically, let's say you said, you know what, I think I can sell 100 books this weekend. And if I end up with 200 people interested, I'm just going to take their names down. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw my book was $5 or whatever. I'm going to go buy $500 worth of books. Cool. Send me 100. Because they send you 1,000. Are you really going to carry all the boxes in, Jasmine? No. Right. So get 100 of them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Put them in your car. Take 50 of them in with you. Right. So you can carry it without hurting your back.
Yeah.
And if you need to refill at lunch, go get some more at lunch. But here's what you do. You don't spend the money that you made from the books.
Mm.
It's called the waterfall method, meaning whatever I make off the books, this is my book fund to buy my next re-up. So if you sell 100 books at at $15 a piece, you made $1,500 on that $500 you invested in the books. So now you have a better understanding of how many you need, all of that. But now you got $1,500 to buy the next set.
Mm-hmm. So you always have things, you always have products with you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
at the beginning, you don't want to be like Amway.
Yeah.
I used to have a cousin who bought all this Amway crap. Look at Jadika. Jadika know what I'm talking about. They house full of boxes. I'm like, what is all this crap? Well, this my daddy product. I'm like, your daddy ain't sold nothing. These boxes been here for 3 years. He got soap, toilet paper. I'm like, who is ordering toilet paper in the mail? Like, what are they doing? Look, Ann know what I'm talking about. You got some Amway friends, right? They had all these boxes of junk, right? And you like, wait, I don't want to be that dude. Like, this ain't working. So you don't want to be this warehouse that's just holding things, right?
No.
So you buy 100 and prove that you can sell those 100, but keep that money to re-up for your next 300.
Yes, that you're gonna buy.
Right?
Yeah,
And then
and I
you sell
spoke
those 300 and you re-up, because that's going to give you 300 times $15, going to give you $4,500. And you roll that $4,500 to your next set of product. It's just keeping the inventory. You don't sell the $1,500 worth of books
they go spend
and
it.
then go pay your rent, because then you ain't gonna be able to buy no more product, you know. So, I
No,
learned
you
that in the hood, how you re-up is what they call it. I don't know how I know that, but they just call it re-upping,
yeah, you have to do that. And to that thing with the in what you say about Amway and products like that. I mean, I was never caught into that situation because I was too busy working my ass off for Linux. But anyway, with the products, like I've got 3 books now, and end up working on another one, and it's all health and wellness. But as I told you, weren't here last week when I mentioned to Ange when I did the speaker reel, and I always save it for the last when they ask what I can give. I want to give something back, and the podcast host is usually shocked. Oh my God, my audience would get that, but I send them to the website. Because if you were to go on my website and just say, hey, Jasmine, before right in front of me right now, I will get that you said, hey, Jasmine. And so they can identify which podcast I was on. And as to Rain, I was on that Riverside one this weekend. And I was free on Friday. I did a podcast, Mindful Management. And they had that Riverside. And they send you all these instructions ahead of time. And I get on there and I was surprised. I saw that they did like is it a real? I haven't even done anything with it because when it comes
the
to
clips,
technical stuff,
it does the clips at the end.
add the clips at the end that you can use. So that was kind of a very neat, because she said to me, have you used this platform before? And I go, no, but I'm sure you can tell me what to do. And right away it tells you whether your podcast was uploaded properly. You get a green tick, right?
Yep.
At the end, that everything is cool, so that's kind of nice. And I saw your email, Ron, yesterday, which is great. I listened to your video, the whole half-an-hour video that you came out. Very, very,
Yeah,
very,
thank
very
you.
good. Only I didn't know that I became Dr. Karen. At the bottom of my name, it says Dr.
Really? I thought it said Jasmine. I didn't.
No,
I
when I
typed it in
start
wrong.
speaking, you can see me up there, but under my name. I don't mind taking the
Oh.
doctor. I don't mind taking the
Oh,
doctor.
no,
And
I
at
think
the
what
bottom,
happened, but that's a Zoom thing. You know how Zoom, like, it puts our names at the bottom,
yeah.
and then it didn't change the thing properly. So
Yeah,
I
that's okay.
apologize about that.
No, that's okay. I was listening to, and the funny thing is, I listened to all of us again that were there, and it's kind of neat the different perspectives we all have. So show that you're doing something. There's a common thread, through when everyone comes on, that we're all zooming in the same one. So that's kind of nice. I enjoyed it.
I think the one thing that I wanted to, outside of having Jamar, I really wanted to talk about that level of commitment, right? Because I think that that's where most speakers give up. What I call the half-life of a speaker is about 9 months. And in scientific terms, half-life means like it's like when you're dying, right? Like it's half as powerful and it just keeps going down, and right. But a speaker will quit being a speaker after about 9 months. So they'll be very excited about, I'm a speaker. They join these different groups. They join our group. We got 53,000 people in the group on LinkedIn. They come in the group, they're excited. And then if they don't get a gig in that first 9 months, they quit. They don't mention that they quit. They keep it in their title on LinkedIn, but they stop pursuing it. Does that make sense? Our job at SpeakerHub is to get them on something, whether it's a podcast, a local group, a Zoom call. I gotta get you sharing your message so that you don't lose the confidence. Because that inspiration that got you speaking in the first place and wanting to be a speaker, someone has to nurture it so that it doesn't wear off. Does that make sense? So if we could be that nurturing place of showing examples, right? Showing ourselves how we're progressing through, having other people come on and share their stories and what they're going through and how they're committed to measuring at a later date, right? Because we set our goals. I aspire to be like this person. But we didn't see, most people don't know Tony Robbins was on TV 24 hours a day for 30 years. I mean, he was selling that book in them infomercials. I mean, there literally was 17 years where a Tony Robbins infomercial was running on paid television 24 hours a day for 17 years. Continuously. Somewhere in the world, that video was being played. Right? Imagine the amount of investment that was made in him getting people to buy the book. But the book wasn't just the book. It was a lead up to buying his course, which is a lead up to coming to his live show. So sometimes we only see the tip of the iceberg, but we got to build the rest of the funnel so that, people can be introduced to us. But that comes with having the right perspective.
And that's a lot of thing a lot of people have to understand, that you have to be in an environment of like-minded people, because it's just somewhere in the Bible it says, don't preach to the people at home because they're not going to listen to you. You got to go out there and do what you need to do. And, the first thing, if I just happen to mention to someone that today's Family Day in Canada. So I mentioned to a friend of mine last night, I said, oh, I got to get cracking, this is what I have to do today. And then I have my regular noontime stuff. And she says, well, aren't you cooking, the turkey and everything for your family? I said, girl, I did that last night because it's not going to interrupt with my day today. I'm not going to be in the kitchen today. That cooked turkey was cooked last night. And when dinner time comes, besides it's snowing like crazy, 8 feet of snow, I don't think anybody's going to show up anyway for dinner. But I did it last night. And then, the second word of her mouth is, well, would you get paid for that? And I just chuckled because I've had it all my life in the wellness industry where, people will drop off because the family member and the friends around them try to dissuade them. So I've, said, okay, ever since I've started this platform in January, I've had podcasts every single week through, right? The first question they're asking, do you get paid? But I am strong enough to go back to that argument, and said, just when I started my YouTube channel as well, someone said to me, oh, you're not going to get monetized like that. I said, how do you know that's what I'm doing it for? I said, I'm building a platform. You got to build your house on solid ground. If you don't build your house on solid ground, and there are different layers, so there's the learning channel over there on YouTube. Here I am building my speaking, my speaking career, which is extremely important to me, and get it. So she said, well, aren't you supposed to be going into corporations and, doing workshop? I said, that's a part of it as well. My career, there's a level of my career that all comes together. And, so people will want you to stop and explain to them what you're doing only to tear you down and to poke hole in it. Or you've been on it 9 months, so you don't get paid. Like Jamal just said, that podcast that you have, like I get excited. Like the one I did on Friday, she said that won't drop until June. And she said, I hope you don't mind, almost like scared to tell me. And I said, I'm going to be building a whole lot. And it all comes out by the end of the year, I'll have over 100 podcasts drop all over the place. And that's where my career will explode. So from leaving here today, it's important for this meeting, but leaving here today, there's also a layer out there of people, naysayers, and that's why those other people drop off. And they're going from this to this to this because they didn't get that money. I sent a very, very important email to someone who asked me about my fees, and I didn't just burp out fees to them. Because I'm not going to burp out fees to them until I have a full understanding and how to diplomatically say it. But the way I said it, Jamal just said that right now, you know, that's my speaking is important to me and my passion is important to me. And in that conversation, you're going to lay out what you expect of me, and then I price it. You know, so I didn't jump and fire off, oh, I make this and I make this. No, I didn't do that. But I'm nurturing because we're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And then we're going to get that fee. So if it takes me 3 emails before I spit out what I owe, I don't care, because that's not the important part to me. The importance of this is that I'm building a solid relationship so they understand when they get me, like Jamal says, when I show up in my suit, when they get me, they're gonna get something powerful. It's my
Well,
little.
I think you.
That's my
No,
little.
I think you make a. No, that's really, really, really important. I couldn't have said it better. You know, it's 1 o'clock, guys, so we're gonna go into overtime, and I want to, I want to say this. I did a podcast where I tell a story that I don't tell a lot, but when I tell the story, it makes sense. So last August, Angela and we sponsored an event. That's why I met Ann for the first time live and in person outside of Zoom. And my sister came with me. And I flew my sister in to this conference that we did. And it was the first time my sister had ever known what I did for a living since I stopped being a financial advisor, because I refused to tell them about it. Right. So my mom has no clue that I buy businesses, and my sisters, they had no idea. Right. They just don't. My little brother, he lives in South America. I don't know what he does. Half of my family think I work for like Pablo Escobar or somebody like that. Right. Because they was like, I don't know what he do, but he down there and everybody come to visit him. And they always talk about how good of a time they had. I'm like, we ain't doing nothing wild. Like, what are y'all thinking about? Right. But why do I bring that up? Why do I not tell my family? Because my family cares so much about me that they would rather see me not pursue my dreams. Meaning that the pain that it takes to go against the crowd and the pain that it takes to change into who you need to be to do what you're trying to do, whatever that dream is, it's in your family members' best interest to protect you from that pain. So I had to make a decision. I didn't just stop telling them, I left the country. So I'm not even bothered by them on a daily basis, asking me, what you doing today? Why is this like that? Why are you not happy today? What happened? Tell me about this. Boy, you need to get out the house. All you do is work. And I hear, and I'm like, you know what? You gonna have to tell me that in Spanish, because I'm leaving. Right? So I left in 2014 because I got tired of it. Right now, I never tell them that, but that was one of the reasons. Like, dude, I'm tired of hearing y'all stuff, because they knew I left running. I had 8 Allstate agencies. Then I managed 300 offices for farmers in Illinois and Iowa and Missouri. They saw that, Ron, company car, wearing a suit every day. Everybody's, I'm 28, 29. And then I go to this valley of despair trying to start this other business. And there are things, no, boy, just go back to what you was doing. You good enough? I know I'm good enough, but I'm better than that. Right? So if I were to ask you an example, Jasmine, if you were to try to touch the ceiling in your house, if you stood up, could you just reach your arm up and touch the ceiling?
No.
Okay. Right? If you were going to touch the ceiling, what would you have to do?
I'd have to use a ladder.
Okay. But you think you could jump to do it?
No.
Okay.
I
Could
couldn't
you
jump.
attempt?
It's too high. But if I could,
if you were going to attempt to jump,
yeah.
what's the direction you would go first?
If I was going to attempt to jump up,
Mm-hmm.
That's a trick question. Let me jump. You want me to jump?
It's not. It's not a trick question.
Huh? It's not?
But look,
It's not a trick question.
Ray, let me ask you, Ray,
Yeah.
if you were going to jump, what's the first direction on a jump?
It's up.
Up. No,
First direction on the
down.
jump is down.
Down.
Now that I
Go
stand
down
up.
first.
See, now that you got to go down
Yeah.
first and up.
To go up.
Yeah.
Now that I got up. You see, if
Everybody's trying to avoid the dip from where they
Yes.
were, but you gotta dip from where you were to go higher to the next level where you're trying to go.
got to give me perks. I figured it out as soon as I
Right.
stood up.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. High five. We on this. This is the experiential learning, right? But we try to avoid that dip of the bounce. We gotta bounce, guys. And if we don't think of it that way, if we try to avoid the bounce, we just end up stretching ourselves. Right? So you gotta be careful with trying to justify the bounce to people that love you, because the bounce looks like a fall. Let me say it again. When you go down, they're like, oh, don't fall. No, I gotta position myself to jump. So it's gonna look like a fall, but it's really not. And that takes perspective. If you look at the stock market, it didn't just go up like this. It went up like this.
Mhm.
Right? It's always a bounce. And if you understand that, when you make that transition, like Janika is coming back to speaking from when she used to do it. She had to knock some of the rust off. So she had to bounce down a little bit in order to prepare for doing all the podcasts and getting back into the virtual speaking and all of that. It's just a part of it. But it's hard already to be an entrepreneur. It's even harder if you're doing it on defense.
Yeah.
Why do I have to defend my life decisions if I ain't borrowing from you? One of my friends, Derek, he's like my little brother. And one of the things he says, man, people ask me all the time what you do. And my response is, he ain't never borrowed no money from me, so I don't care. Now, which is a great answer, because unless, there's no reason to do a credit check on a person that you ain't lending to, right? So from that perspective, a lot of times our family members are doing credit checks with no funds to offer. They don't even have the encouragement funds, not even like literal cash. They don't even have the. Here's what I found out with some of my friends. My desire to do something bigger would remove all of their excuses for why they didn't do it. Let me tell you again, your desire to do something bigger removes all the excuses as to why they didn't do it. Now, if they can keep you in the same box that they know you in, then when they say, man, can't nobody from here, I'm just this, can't nobody from here get out of there, but you went and got out, they like, well, shoot, I probably could have got out too. That's when they come and ask you for help. But while you're still close to them, they're going to hold on to you. But once you get out, they'll come and ask you for help, right? Like the same, let me tell you this, the same exact people that I was trying to sell PitchDB to ignored me. Oh man, yeah, this cool, but they gave me all the crap. The minute that they heard, oh, you bought SpeakerHub. Wait, SpeakerHub, wasn't that owned by a big company? And it was this and that. How you end up with it? Okay, cool. I'm okay with that. But now they want to be a part of it. So the push is what I want to make sure you understand this. All of the energy to get a rocket, that's why we use that rocket back there. All of the energy to get the rocket off the ground, it's used in the first few minutes. The biggest booster on a rocket, the largest one, is just to get that joint 100 feet in the air, right? And it takes all of our energy. So we can't be distracted by the negativity. Sometimes you got to just tell people, yeah, I know. You know what? You're right. Because that's what I've learned. So, man, you know that's going to fail. Yeah, you know what? You're right. They don't have a second layer of bullshit to talk. Most people are one question deep. Janika know it. They got one question. Right? One of my favorite songs is by this guy named Young Jeezy. And it's called "And Then What?" Right? Because that's how, man, yeah, man, you're right. And then what? Because, man, that ain't gonna work. Okay, and then what? They have nothing to say after that. And then what? What's next? Once they finish they little, man, dude, you ain't gonna make no money doing that. Yeah, you're right. And then just listen.
I got that when I left the government job, you know, and when I left the government job, my marriage was kind of getting to the end. And one of the biggest things my ex would say to me, oh, so you're going to go out and build fitness clubs and you're leaving that secure job. I'm not going to be taking care of you for the rest of your, the rest of your life. I said, you don't have to take care of me right now. I said, we're parting ways. You don't have to take care of me. And, I remember I met Tony Robbins when I was at the government job with his first book. And he wrote in the book, which I have on my bookshelf, is Live with Passion. And I live, and when I left the government job, my direct manager said to me, I see you light up when you talk health and fitness. So don't quit, take a year leave of absence with pay. And then if you really, and I never went back. And he was saying to me, so the biggest thing too is knowing that if you put the money there as a God in front of you, you'll never burst through that, right? And so I left, and everyone is an odyssey. When I went to Lennox, it wasn't to go in his boxing right away, is to bring, to get his fitness club that was faltering back on track. And I say, I'll go in there and I'll give me 6 months and then I'm going on my way. And then he threw the boxing to sweeten the pie. I'll have you be a part of my boxing team, to sweeten the pie. But you walk in there, and when I walk into that fitness club, because you're taking over a club that is faltering financially, everybody thought, and his best friend was one of I was the president, the best friend was the CEO at the time, and he would be sitting across in a glass desk from me when Lennox hired me because he hated it. And he thought I was going to be running sales meeting right away. The first thing I did, it took me 2 weeks before I went out and did a sales call or did anything financially. And he was busting a gasket. And I wrote a policy and procedure manual because I want to know, everybody has to know where they're going, how they're going to get there. And then we started bringing the sales. And I remember Lennox coming into me and says, Barry says, you haven't done a sales meeting and you haven't done anything. And I said, you guys are running like loose rabbits all over the place. Nobody knows their job function. Nobody knows nothing. I'm not going to come in this whole mess. And from that day forward, Lennox has never questioned me. In 16 years, has never questioned me. Because you don't put the money. Yeah, I want to make money. I just had a massive breakup where the guy has left with half my money. And in some bad investments. So I want money, but I realize I have to come out the best I can be, and the money will follow, trust me. So I just look at this calendar every day and online, and I have to have stuff coming in, and that's how I live my life. I don't know if that's, once I see, I have appointments, I have a podcast on Friday, I have a speaking thing tomorrow where they're just talking to me for a few minutes, you know how that goes, and I make sure there's something coming in. And
No,
then
I think I think you make a good point. I mean, again, being organized, understanding what your plan and your schedule is probably the most important thing that an entrepreneur can do, right? It's good to have role models. It's horrible to have comparisons. Again, it's good to have role models. It's hard to have comparisons. There's a company I idolize. I love what they do. 2 of them. One is ClickFunnels. I love the way that they introduce new concepts to people. But the other one is one that you all may not have heard of called ConvertKit. And ConvertKit makes their financials public. And our team, we go through their financials looking at how many customers they have at this date And are we on the same traction as them? Okay, when they had this much coming in monthly, their next month was this. Where's ours? And I'm like, oh, I'm am I I'm not where they are, but I need a role model, right? I need a role model because it gives me the confidence that I'm doing it right. And that's all we really want to provide, not only to you all, but to the new speakers, because a lot of these great messages are going to die because they were given the wrong frame on how to position it. They were told that they should only share that message when they get paid $10,000, right? But that message is going to die because they don't have the skills to share it properly yet. So our job is to help you all to get on more stages and to be able to build the confidence that the world actually does need your help. It's hard out here, man. You know, I talk about it all the time. It is hard. America right now is like a third world country wearing a Gucci belt. I mean, on the outside, everything looks great. On the inside, it is terrible, right? Because nobody wants to admit that they need to get better. And we're comparing ourselves to the wrong people instead of finding the role models. I wish they would bring apprentices. Like, you remember the apprentice type of things where when I was in engineering, I had to go do construction apprenticeships. And, you go work, you do all this hard work for free. You ain't getting paid nothing, but you're learning. You get your hammer, you learn how to use all the stuff. But they like, dude, you're going to break more stuff than what we're going to pay you, so we're not going to pay you nothing. All the wood you about to cut wrong, that's your paycheck, because you about to cut twice and measure once. It's going to be bad, right? So I wish America would get back into that, because that's where the winners are, and nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about, like, the Beatles. Y'all heard of the Beatles, right? Let me tell you what happened. There was a tavern in Europe, and there was a band that played that tavern every night, and they would never give up the stage. And the Beatles would go in and say, "Hey, man, can we have a night?" And the guys are like, "No, we're not giving you a night." The tavern owner was like, "No, it's their thing. That's our house band." One day, that band did a show outside of the city because they thought they had outgrown that little tavern. And the Beatles went in and did that one show and played that tavern for 5 consecutive years before they became the Beatles. Even when Ringo would get sick, somebody else would go play his instrument, but they weren't giving up that stage. Now, what we know is the famous thing, but we didn't see the 5 years of them playing for free. That's all I'm saying, is there's some time that we need to invest in telling our own story for free. Y'all didn't see I was explaining to my partner Viviana yesterday, and Viviana is a great example of courage, right? So when Venezuela was going through its civil war back in 2015, 16, 17, it was really bad. And she left Venezuela and came here with $100. She left Venezuela and came to Colombia with $100. I won't go to the grocery store with less than $100. Not to mention leaving some country. I ain't about to go to a different country with $100 to start, right? My son, Paul, at the time, she had him before we met, but he was 8 months old. She didn't see him again until he was 2, right? Because she wanted to make a difference, right? So my perspective is a little bit different because of not only where I came from, but the people that I live with. See, I didn't really know hard, and I didn't understand sacrifice until I left America. And that's when I realized, yo, we got it too good. We just weak. And I don't know if you're offended by it, leave. But it's the fact. We are just weak a lot of times. And a lot of people are going through worse stuff that we complain about. And we squander these opportunities that are right in front of us because it wasn't easier. Right? So we have a team member on our Zoom call who's in he's such a great, he does such a great job, and I'll end on this. He does such a great job at what he does. He's one of our best designers, but he doesn't speak English. So I'm paying for English classes for him, but he has to come on Zoom. We wrote some software so that he could watch the words. He got to watch all of our meetings, translate it. But that's how committed he is. He's like, no, I'll watch it and then I'll put it back in the thing. And if I have any questions, I'll write you. No, everybody on our team speaks English and Spanish, but we run all of our meetings in English on purpose. Why? Because I know it's in his best interest and in our team's best interest that if they ever leave us, they can go work anywhere. But look at the sacrifice he's willing to make. Imagine having to sit on this thing and read captions and then do your job based on the captions. I happen to fell asleep in that daggone meeting, but Angel does it beautifully. So all I'm saying is, guys, we have a huge opportunity in front of us. There are a lot of people who've had worse lives, worse opportunities. Dude, they don't even allow, we talk about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is not even allowed in Venezuela. I don't know if you all know that. So we have to buy VPNs for our team to even be able to log in to test the open AI stuff that you all get to use because it's illegal in their country. The AI that y'all using, we have to buy special software for them to be able to program it and put it into the software for you all to use and complain about. We got it too easy, right? So all I'm saying is the message, if you have the message, get it out there. There's no excuse. This is the first time in history. You know, I ain't gonna go back to Rosa Parks and all the other folks and what's the lady who the Underground Railroad. We ain't gonna go to all of that. All I'm saying is, see you later, Jasmine. All I'm saying is, give it your best shot. What's the lady name that they did the Underground Railroad?
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman. I was about to say Sojourner Truth. Harriet Tubman. You know, I don't know. My Black history is terrible, but this is the easiest time, the best time to be a speaker. Huge opportunity for you to leave an impact. We're the first. Look, let me tell you something, Janika. Do you know what Harriet Tubman's voice sounds like? Do you? No. We're the first generation where people hundreds of years from now will still be able to hear how we sound. All right? We're the first generation. They'll be able to see what we look like and what we talked about and see our animation and our passion for what we do. But yet we don't want to do it. No, put them videos out. Tell your chicken and pig stories. Tell whatever stories you got to make it work, because the world needs the message. Some little kid needs to hear from Lesia, from B, from Orain. Somebody needs to hear that story. And yeah. And what part of the world are you in today? Oh, I think you're still muted. We can't hear you. Still muted. We can't hear you. Okay. Okay, go ahead and say something.
Okay, great. Just left the Falcons.
What's that? The Falcons?
Falklands.
Atlanta?
Falklands.
Oh, okay. I thought you said the Falcons, like Atlanta. I'm like,
No. No, the Falklands.
Where's that at?
Falkland Islands at the bottom, really literally at the bottom of the world, bottom of South America.
Well, that's incredible.
After leaving Chile, coming up around the coast.
Cool. So you out there for 6 months for real?
For real, yes.
Holy smokes.
But I'm here with you every day.
No, it's admirable. This is incredible. Do you get to get off the boat?
Yes, we dock every other day.
Oh, I didn't know that. Look,
Yes.
I ain't been on no cruises. Like I'm like, nah, that cruise got us messed up at the beginning. I'm gonna hang off for those. But
Yeah, no, 72 cities.
holy smokes.
Yes.
Do you get a passport stamp with everyone? They let you get off and they stamp you?
No. They
Oh, that
take your
would be
passport. They
incredible.
keep, no. Mm-mm.
That would be incredible if you got all 72 stamps.
Well,
That would be
I don't,
bananas.
I can't say that wrong. I don't really know because they take your passport and they ask you to have 6 pages available and empty
Okay.
before you get on the ship. So,
Okay. They probably, when you get it back, it may be stamped up. Lesia, I apologize. I thought our meeting was at 1:30. Do you have any questions? I know we had a meeting set up. I don't know exactly. Is it customer support related? Is it something you want to talk about with us, or should I kick everybody out and then we do our meeting privately? It's really up to you.
No, this is good. It's actually similar to what oh, good afternoon, everyone, first of all. It's actually similar to what we're discussing right now in terms of I'm a brand new speaker. I've never done this for a living in a sense that well, I said I'm brand new, but in a sense I do it for a living because as a teacher I speak every day. I may have presentations, but I don't know how to go out and actually do this on a daily basis.
Gotcha. Okay.
And sometimes I don't feel like my message is important, although it's education. I want to influence parents to help their children to learn how to teach their children how to read, but I don't know how lucrative or beneficial they would even find it. So I'm
Okay.
stuck at that point.
So let me ask you a question. Do you have, let's say for instance, I heard you have a 20-minute talk, right? So let's say someone brings you on, they let you talk about the value of reading and how it influences if a kid learns to read at this age level versus this age level, how it pushes them in different directions. I'm just making this up, right?
Mhm.
What's the next step?
After the talk, or
Yeah, after I heard your talk, how do I actionize what I learned?
so I had a course created for me that actually walks them through step by step on just getting their mindset correct. And then I have some videos that are attached to it that shows them what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But it
And
would
is
give
this for
them
the parents or for the kids?
It's for parents, but if they wanted to, I would actually have to use the children to model what it is I would like them to do at some point. But if they wanted me to tutor their children, that would be a 15-minute session that I can do with them as well.
Okay.
Because more than 15 minutes in class, and you lose the attention of the child. So 15 minutes is all you really need, and then it's just a matter of practicing continuously.
Okay. So you have a talk,
Mhm.
you have a course,
Mhm.
you have tutoring, which is consulting,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
What else?
That's it. I don't know
Okay.
what
No,
else.
that's okay. I just want to know what's there. Just want to know. So we call that the product mix,
Mhm.
right? Sometimes you can go speak and there's a different version of the talk that you will give.
Mhm.
One will be for parents,
Mhm.
right? But that same information can be for principals and teachers because they don't know it,
Okay.
right? That same information could be for conference goers and nonprofit organizations that work with parents and teachers.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
one of my clients, her name is um, uh, Pam Ellis, right? And Pam teaches parents how to get scholarship money for their kids,
Okay.
right? And we're like, well, who's going to pay for her to come show you how to get scholarship money? But she offers the scholarship program on the backside, and she has all of these other things very similar to what you're talking about. And I asked her, I said, who benefits from this? She was like, the parents. I'm like, but how do you get in front of them? And she says, well, when I was a Jack and Jill mom, I used to do this and I did that. I said, you talked to them? She said, mm-mm. We reached out, we looked up every Jack and Jill chapter in America. And we reached out to all of them. She got 140 meetings with Jack and Jill chapters. She was like, I should have thought about this a long time ago. And I said, well, who's just like Jack and Jill? She said, Girl Scouts. Cool. We looked up all the Girl Scout chapters. And we reached out to all the Girl Scout chapters, right? Then I said, well, who else? And she says, uh, National Charity League. It's kind of the same thing. Boom. Right? So the reason why I use her as an example is because a lot of times there's three things. There's the owner. We talk about this all the time. I'll share it with you. And here's what you'll figure out. Let me see. Drive. Let me go to modalities. Let me see. Modality. Speaker product mix. Here we go. Right? So here's what you have to figure out, Licia. Is it Lacia? How do I say your name?
Lucia.
Lucia. Okay. So there's the owner. The owner is the person who's responsible for bringing you in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
There's the payer. That's the person who's going to buy your products or services or pay you to come speak.
Okay.
And then there's the beneficiary. That's the person who's benefiting from the stuff that you teach.
Okay.
So your reading thing can benefit the students. The
Mhm.
parents can pay for it. The
Mhm.
schools may bring you in through the PTA.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
But the same message, the conference event planner may own the responsibility for bringing you in. The conference may pay you. The beneficiary is the other teachers and principals who learn about your reading research
Mhm.
that can help them and go impact their students in their classes.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you approach different opportunities, whether it's a podcast or whatever, you really kind of want to have in mind what's the beneficiary. So
Okay.
let me give you a great example. I'm going to go in here to SpeakerHub and I'm going to log in here. And when I come into podcast and I can come here and in genres, I can type in K through 12,
Okay.
right? And then I can also look up kids, but I'm going to leave it there and just talk about reading scores. Now, this brought up 4 different reading score based 40 different reading score based podcasts. Do you see that?
Yes.
So, do you think the kids are listening to these podcasts?
No.
Right? So they're not the beneficiary in this case.
Mhm.
The beneficiary is whoever's in the audience, whether it's the mom or the teachers, depending on which podcast. So, like this one, Protecting Our Black Boys in Modern America with Desmond Williams, right? So what you learn is, okay, I can come in and I can look and see what this podcast is about and know who I'm dealing with, so I can tune my message for that audience.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's why that beneficiary owner payer thing. So watch this. The owner who's going to make the decision on whether or not you can come on that podcast is the host,
Okay.
right? The beneficiary is the listener, right? And the host. They both kind of benefit from it. But the payer is the person who goes and buys the course or maybe calls you on the other side, brings you in to speak at their organizations, ask about your tutoring programs, things of that sort.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
We come into associations and we type in child. Boom. 3,800 child associations.
Okay.
We come in, we type in parent. Another 2,900 parent associations where you can go and say, hey, look, I know that by the 3rd grade, we can reduce the probability of your kid being in jail by 400% just by getting his reading scores up.
Mhm.
Because if he can read at a 3rd grade level in the 3rd grade, he's less likely to be bullied. He's less likely to fight because he's getting bullied. All of these things go away just because we got his reading up. Now, I'm going to share something with you, how much I believe in this. I believe in this to the core. Why? Because I stopped growing at 5'6", right? And people probably like, what does you being 5'6" have to do with anything, Ron? I spent from age 4 up until age 17 playing baseball. 5'6", 140 pounds, you're not going to the major leagues. I spent my whole life playing baseball, basketball. My mom invested in taking me all around, getting coaches, getting me all this stuff. If you are an athlete and you have a coach, a quarterback's coach, extra baseball coach, extra training, it's because you're good.
Mhm.
Education-wise, if you got a tutor and someone helping you with your math, it's because you're stupid.
Mhm.
But it's really not. It's just a perception,
Mhm.
right? It's just a perception. Because if I have a quarterback's coach that's going to help me, or a shortstop's coach that's going to help me field ground balls and work on my footwork and all of that, that don't mean I'm a bad shortstop. It's making me a better shortstop. But America has demonized tutors instead of saying specialty coaches. Now, I had to fight that in my own house, right? My son, when he was 4, going into kindergarten, he wasn't in the best school. We put him in a private bilingual school. He was lost. 2 months into it, the teacher said, think we're going to put him back. I said, no, we're not going to do that. What is it that he needs? Well, he's behind in this. How much time does he have? He got 4 weeks to get caught up. Cool. He had tutoring every day from that point. Right now, my son does 9 to 10 hours of tutoring a week. After school, he gets home at 3:30. Eds will tell you, the tutor's here from 4 to 6 every day. It's been like that for 5 years now. Why? Because it ain't that he's stupid. He just was behind. Now he's ahead. He's straight A's. But you know what? You know what happened? Our nanny, hey, my daughter was behind. I remember when Paul was behind. Cool, bring your baby over, right? So now the nanny comes with her daughter, and our tutor goes to the nanny's house on the other days to tutor her kids. Now, why is that super duper important? Because my 3-year-old was on the floor crying last week because she couldn't go in to tutoring when her brother was getting tutored, because we got to separate him a bit, right? Because she want to bother him. But now my 3-year-old daughter is like, no, I want to go to tutoring too. The standard has been set. So all I'm saying is you have to be that person. I'm all the way in Columbia. I can't come and teach on that, but you can. Does this make sense? My house is a prime example that we will not be investing. Now, he can play soccer and all of that. Cool. But we're going to invest more in the things he's going to use for the rest of his life, because he's one knee injury away, right? He may be 6'7". I don't know how tall his dad was. I never met him, right? But I know I'm 5'5". So, right? So just in case he don't go out to be a star athlete, which we ain't betting on that, I got to make sure he's a star person.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? But Lucia, you got to get that message out there. Don't worry about whether you're doing it right. You're doing it right.
Okay,
Get your butt out there and get to talking to these people, okay?
okay.
Why? Because think about it. Every little kid's life that you can save or you can impact in one way, just because you were influential on that parent.
Mhm.
Last story, and I'll let you all go. I'm here today because in October of 1995, somebody stood up on a bus on a ride to the Million Man March and explained to me how money worked. I don't even remember who the dude is, but I'll never forget that speech. I didn't know nothing about savings account, money market account, stocks, bonds. He explained it all. He had as a captive audience. We had 12 hours in that car. He stood up on that bus and he just talked about money the whole time. Because he says, black folks don't know nothing about money. You black men need to learn this. That sparked something in me that changed me forever. You just don't know who you're sparking. Does that make sense? So I want to share something that we made and we never were able to use. And I wish I'm probably gonna run this as an ad, but we never used it. And I wish we would have. Let me see if I can bring this up. I want you all to see this because we made this and we just never used it. And I think we should use it because it's Black History Month. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Check this out. And I'm gonna play this. So this is for you, Licia, and everybody else that's here.
Growing
I can't even hear y'all butts no more.
No, it was just all static.
One second. Speaker MacBook. Okay, say something, Ange.
Hello, can you hear
All
me?
right, cool. Yeah, my headphones died. I couldn't even hear y'all no more. But 1 second. I want y'all to hear this. This was dope, and we never
good.
used it. Now I feel like an idiot. And
It's
here we
still
go.
applicable.
Yep, 1 second. Right. So here we go. And I don't think anybody's ever seen this. So
Mm-mm.
okay, here we go. It's still not playing the audio, is it?
No, we can't hear it.
What the heck? Okay, let me try the next one. We got another one. Feel so bad because that was the SH. Oh man, I wanted you all to see this. Okay, I'll find it. I'll find another one and I'll send it to you all. But it's supposed to, like, has all the audio on it. Copy. Let me see. Last one. Dang it. I can't find it, guys. I feel so bad. This is one of my favorite videos. Give me 2 seconds, and I promise you it's worth it. Give me 2 seconds, and then we'll hop off. Let's see. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to send it to my phone from over here. Dang it. Okay. Well, I'll just have to send it to you all because I don't want to waste your time on this. But this is one of my favorite things. And wait. Wait. I think I got it. I think I got it. Okay, here we go. 1 second. Super duper. I promise you it's worth it. I promise you it is worth it. BNSA drive. Okay. BNSA. And All right, I'm done because I can't get it to work. Dang damn it. I could hear it on my phone. All right. Well, I tried, guys. I wanted you all to see it. I wanted you all to be able to hear this. It goes right into what we're talking about, but for some reason it is not gonna let me play it. Let me see. Let me copy the link. Maybe it'll do it here because this one was playing on my phone. Let's see. Nope. For some reason it's still not playing the audio. So
Hello, Ron. You basically have my interest. Now I won't be able to sleep without seeing that video.
dude, well here. Wait,
And
let's
said,
see.
can you share the link?
Yeah, let me see. Hold on. Wait, I may have another way to do it. Let me see
We
if I can
believe in
cast
you.
it. I'm gonna see if I can cast it. Give me a second. Let me see if I can cast this to my phone. Usually there's a way for me to cast directly to my from my iPhone over to you guys. Where's the okay.
Ron, you have another meeting right now.
Yep, I know.
Oh,
She's
you
coming
let her
in,
in.
but yeah, you can let her in.
Okay.
And let me see.
That's a very important skill as well. You're demonstrating how to hold an audience attention.
Yeah, I know, man. I wish I wanted you all to see this because it's just Debbie. Good to see you. But I wanted you all to see this. It's so important to me. But it's just not letting me do it. I wish I could, but let's see. One last try. All right, yeah, we're gonna have to try it. I promise I'll have it for you tomorrow. Come back
Come
tomorrow.
back tomorrow.
Come back tomorrow, and we may be able to do it. Yeah, it's just not. It ain't allowing me. Oh, wait. Can y'all see my screen?
It says Ron has started screen sharing,
Okay.
but we don't
It's
see
still not
anything yet.
sharing it though?
No, it says double click to enter full screen mode.
Yeah, I can't do it, guys. I wanted you to see it, but I'll send the link. I'll put it somehow, or I'll upload it to YouTube, and I'll try to get it to you. But it is an incredible video we put together last
They did
year
a great job.
that we never used, and it's one of my favorite videos that we created. BNSA. I don't think Ray uploaded it. Nope. Shoot. Okay. I'll get it to you guys.
It's not on
Remind me to share this video with you. But here's the audio. I can share that. Okay, real quick. And Debbie, we're gonna hop on. I apologize. But let's see. I'll share the audio. Okay, here we go. Last time.
Growing up, we all had someone we looked up to, someone whose words and actions inspired us to dream big and strive for greatness. For some, it was a teacher, a parent, or a public figure. Their guidance and wisdom shaped who we are today. But imagine if that person never existed. What would be different? How would our paths have changed? Now think about this. You have the power to be that person for someone else. Your voice, your message, your story can light the way for others. This is why we need to get on stage. This is why we need to share our message. Because somewhere out there, someone is waiting to be inspired by you. You have the power to make a difference, to lead by example, and to guide others on their journey to greatness. Be the leader you needed. Step up, share your story, and inspire the next generation. Join SpeakerHub Pro today.
Right. So, but this was one of my favorite ads that we put together because it was just about somebody helping the kids. Like the entire thing is just parents helping kids, teachers helping kids, people in the community helping kids, because that's really what it's about. We needed somebody at some point in our lives, and we got to be the leaders we needed. So I'll get that queued up so that it works. Because with the visuals, it's like I cried the first time I saw this video that Raymar put together. But thanks for being here, guys. Debbie, we can stay on